that because most of the guys that you would date, that would be true.
Are you saying me specifically? Or like
yeah, I'm saying an attractive woman, right? So,
okay.
A lot of the guys that you wouldn't date, they wouldn't have that in mind. So, and the reason why I make this distinction is because a lot of guys that are listening to the podcast or watching it, they're going to fall into the category of more of the nice guy. And they actually have genuinely planned for the date and they're looking for girlfriends.
Saying they're not hoping, like not even a little bit that happens?
A lot of them honestly would be no, because they're just too, a lot of men are not in touch with their sexuality, right? And what they do is they repress their sexuality in front of women, and that's what makes them a nice guy, and that's what makes them not attractive to women. And so they would actually, the nice guy theory of it is, I just want to treat her well and make her feel special, and I'm already in love with this girl and I haven't even gone on a date with her, and I don't want it to be about sex, right? That's honestly what a lot of the nice guy, motive is. And that's why I'm going to say also that a man should have in his mind how he wants the date to end.
Oh, really?
Right? Because there has to be it has to be a game. It has to be a dance. It has to be two opposing forces, right? The woman is looking to vet a guy and find a good guy that she can get to commit. And the guy's looking for a quick action to get his immediate needs met. And it should be that way. And a guy should have that on his mind.
Why?
Because if a guy it's just what I said, is because if a guy comes in with the nice guy frame and he's like, oh, I'm just going to treat her well and just, I don't care about this. She's just a wonderful, beautiful person and I love her and I don't even know her yet, then there's nothing, it doesn't intrigue the woman. There's no mystery. There's no sexual tension. The chemistry doesn't exist.
But what if you're just indifferent? Like it could happen, it could not happen. You're not going to allow it to like bum you out sort of thing. I guess is what I'm saying.
That's how it should be.
It seems very like extreme. You're like, so that's why I was asking why, because it's like, is this guy only going for one thing? Because there are guys who go on dates and they do only want one thing and they do get upset when that thing doesn't happen.
Okay, yeah.
Or, even like in our comment section,
right?
Like guys being like, I bought dinner, so like she needs to go home with me. Like, and that's honestly like what women are afraid of.
Right.
And a lot of the time is this whole like, is he going to hold this against me? Like a lot of times women are very standoffish to even going out with a guy if she gets the vibe that he will be like, oh, I bought you dinner, so now you owe me your body. And like, I'm not saying most guys are like that, but some guys are. And it's usually the guys who are like so heavily just looking to go home with somebody that they then get angry when that doesn't happen. Or they're like, I did this for you. What are you doing for me? Very transactional, which kind of goes back to some of the other stuff we talked about. But I just like when you were describing it, it just seemed like the extreme sort of guy that I was just mentioning or the nice guy. But I'm like, where though is like the in between, which I feel like is probably the best.
Well, it's kind of like almost both of those behaviors actually could be the nice guy, right? Or the guy that, in the sense that if it's transactional, if he thinks what a lot of nice guys do a lot of time that is their mistake is they create a covert contract, right? There's actually a really good book on this by Dr. Robert Glover called No More Mr. Nice Guy. And he talks about covert contracts and this idea that he's creating some kind of, it's not an overt contract. We haven't agreed to this thing, but it's like, if I do this for you, then you have to do this for me, but it's not said. And that creates pressure on someone, and obligation makes them really not like you, right? And so a lot of guys would do that too. So the middle is what I'm saying is that a guy, he should be on his mind, he shouldn't be thinking long term for dating, right? He should be perhaps open to it, but he should be looking at because he should be coming from the frame as, look, my life is really good. I'm not looking for anything serious. I like my casual life. I like just being, the life that I'm living now. So that when he does meet a woman that convinces him otherwise, that she's worth more than just a good time, that that there's some value for her as well, because she's getting something from that guy that he's not giving to everyone.
Right.
And vice versa. And so the guy should kind of have the objective of, I want to get laid tonight. However, he shouldn't be disappointed if he doesn't. He should also be like, even if I don't, like, I'm going on a date with this girl. Yeah, I want to get laid tonight. That is my objective for tonight. However, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't matter, because there's other girls out there and I'll have other times and my life is already good. I don't need this in order for me to be happy. Right. You know what I'm saying? But he does need to have, you got to have both of those sides. You have to have that dance.
I agree.
Between the masculine and the feminine.
And I think I've even talked about what you just said, is that, women have a hard time settling down or finding a guy because they're like, what do you provide me? Especially when they're on their own, they're paying their own bills, they're doing all the things for themselves, that like a guy has to bring her something. So I think we talked about that the last episode.
Right.
But another thing I wanted to ask you about, just in regards to this before we move on, is that I feel like what you said makes sense, but I feel like most men aren't, like, they're taking that to the extreme, right? They're like, they're enjoying their single life so much that now they don't want to ever settle down at all. And I'm not saying that you're wrong. I agree that everybody who's dating should like acquire their like self-care and their self-love and their alone time to such a level where you do need to wait until somebody provides you something that beats that out.
Right.
But at the same time, like how men are made and wanting to be, very sexual beings, that it almost pushes them into this like not wanting to settle down at all, like really, focusing on just going out and getting satisfied. And they can do that, I mean, I know you would like to say that it's harder for them, and I'm not saying that that's wrong.
Right.
But what I'm trying to say here, I guess, is that it's more appealing for a man to stay single forever because he just wants to get what he needs and then he can move on to the next person. Like you said, like, there's plentiful women. Whereas like if the tables were turned though, like women can't just go get a relationship. Like, I mean, they could. You're going to tell me they could.
They could, yeah.
They can't go get a good relationship. Whereas a guy can go get sex and be satisfied. Does that make sense? And so that's why it perpetuates these guys to continue to not settle down, because they're getting satisfied, right? Like for the most part.
Okay.
And then women though, they're trying to catch these guys. And he's like, no, I'm not settling down, even if he likes her. Because there's been plenty of guys who are like, I really like this girl. And
not enough.
I mean, I guess so, but
and
it's
if he
like,
wanted to, he would, right? It's like, and that's what it comes down to. Because what it comes down to is this: it comes down to guy game and girl game, right? And so, a guy should be exercising his game. He should be trying to achieve the male objective and using his game to do that. But a woman should be utilizing her game, which we'll have to do a whole episode on female game because I know that you're the expert in it. And
I have to organize my thoughts on that.
But she should be not allowing him to achieve his objective immediately, but making him feel like he's on the way to achieving the objective, right? That delicate balance, right? Which so that what it comes down to, the answer to your question comes down to, it is up to the woman to have game in that case, to be able to catch one of these guys, to get him to catch the feels by spending enough time, investing enough in her that she has to have herself of a high enough value to say, look, I'm not going to just sleep with you just because we went on a date or especially just because you bought me dinner. You're going to have to invest in me. And I don't mean invest in me just financially, because that's not what we're talking about. I'm talking about like invest in getting to know me as a person.
Well, it's not financial at first, right? It's like time. It's a man's time when you first start dating that he needs to invest and his interest in you. But it's funny you said that, because when I went to brunch with my friend yesterday, I gave her this analogy, right? Like, when you see like a dog or a horse with a pole attached to his back and there's a carrot dangled by a string and it's attached to him, so he can never really get it. I'm like, you're the carrot for a while. Like, you're the carrot. You have to be like here where he can never like really reach it, but he's still trying, right? And there will come a point where, you give him the carrot. But like that aspect of it is so important, not because you're like playing a game, but because men do like a challenge.
Right.
And so you almost have to turn like who you are and your authenticity into this carrot, right? Like you're telling him the truth. You're not lying to him. You're not like being manipulative when we say play games.
Right.
But it's like just giving him enough where he's still going after this thing.
Right.
But he's not getting it quite yet because men want the challenge. Like they act like, yes, like just give me what I want and I'll love you forever. But that's not, especially not in the beginning. Like you cannot give a man everything in the beginning because he'll be like, oh, well, I already know everything about you. I already got what I came here for.
Right.
And even if he actually likes you or you guys could have developed something, you've lost that mystery. You've lost that like pursuit that like men need. Like it's a very masculine thing to like go for your goals and, you know, work towards something. So why wouldn't you make a man work towards achieving you? Right. I guess essentially.
And it's vice versa for women. Women, they want to solve the mystery. They have the detective mindset. They want to figure out the guy, and they want to feel like they figured the guy out,
right?
As opposed to him just telling her all of his emotions and how he feels about things, and just immediately committing to her. She wants to feel like she's won him over, and that's why it is a game. And the thing is, people get upset. They're like, "Oh, I don't want to play games. I just want to be straightforward. I just want to tell this girl I like her. I want to tell me how much she likes me." And the thing is, when we go to sit down and play a regular game, a board game or something like that, we could just literally just roll a die and then decide who wins based on the die. We don't even need to play the game. But that wouldn't be fun. It wouldn't be interesting, right? And again, so it's like, it's not that you should just be toying with people and playing games for that, but it is a chase and you know, a back and forth. It is a cat and a mouse and switching roles. You have to have a little bit of that because that creates the tension. It creates the investment on both parts and makes it exciting, something that you want to play, that you look forward to. This person that, you know, it gets the emotional involvement that needs to be there in order to build a strong bond. So it is not a negative, but
I agree.
Yeah.
Better than perfect, we stand.